time. Yeah, making a difference. One cup at a time. Tea time. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time. Making a difference. One cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time.
Well, welcome to Tea Time. We are here on Evening Tea Time. It is February 15, 2024, middle of February already. Yesterday was Valentine's Day. I hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day. If you haven't subscribed to the Miss Liz's YouTube channel, run on over, click that little subscribe button, ring the little doorbell, and you'll be notified when all these Tea Times go live. I really want to just let everybody know that this afternoon's tea time is rescheduled for March 5th, so stay tuned for that. You'll see a lot of posts going up for that. We did have some little technical difficulties, so we just rescheduled. So Jeff will be back in March, so stay tuned for that. So let's get the disclaimer going. Let's get the bio, and let's get Glenda Benevides. I practiced it in the background for a while. Benevides. I hope I said it right. If not, I'll get Glenda to say it when she comes out. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, grab a glass of wine. You do not need to drink tea when you're listening to Tea Time with Miss Liz. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz myself is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to use your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith. However, may bring forth dialogues and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment in taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussions for some where they may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that the show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer and inspire awareness and connection and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or panelist discussion, you may freely contact me, Miss Liz, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in tonight's show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcomes you. And should you decide that the show is not made for you at this time, I respect those wishes and we'll see you at a later date on another show. And again, all tea times are done on Thursday, 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. in 2024. If it's on Monday or Tuesday, it's a rescheduled tea time, or it's a guest that's returning because some guests like to come back for a second cup of tea. So now a little bit on Glenda. Well, Glenda is a live performer, philanthropist, singer-songwriter, author. What do we have here? Creative director and founder of the Badass Goddess magazine, which we're going to be talking about. But a little bit more on Glenda. Glenda Benevides is an award-winning Recording Academy voting member, GRAMMY, considered singer-songwriter who weaves stories that touch the soul. Imagine the soul singing Love Child of Heart, Janis Joplin, and Bessie Smith. And that is Glenda, a powerful, resonant voice, emanating with blues and souls, demanding attention, calling to action, and uplifting the very fabric of love shared among us all. Like a wild tent rival preacher, Glenda's sermons is empowerment, enlightenment, and building bridges of understanding, all wraps in powerful self-expression that moves you from the heads to the toe to your feet. To get all of Glenda's full bio, you can check out Miss Liz's Facebook page, and I'm going to get Glenda in here, and we're going to spill some tea together. So let me get Glenda in here. Welcome, Glenda.
Hi, Miss Liz.
And I was just like, I was practicing it in the back.
You did it though. It's Benevides.
Oh,
you got it.
I got it right.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Happy tea time.
Right? We have our cups. We got teas going on over here. It's cold season and everybody's got that little tickle in their throat, right?
Exactly. I just got it myself. I'm just getting over it, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a good time. It's just before bed, right? It's an evening, nice way to calm yourself down, have a nice calming tea, right?
Yes.
So
nice turmeric tea is what I'm having.
Oh, those are good teas. I like turmeric with cinnamon.
And you need the active ingredient to create curcumin, which is the healing agent inside the turmeric, is pepper, black pepper.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why it tastes like pepper.
Yeah. I mean, it should have that in there. Sometimes they don't put it in there, but then you're not really getting the medicinal part of the tea, actually. So,
Yeah. Well, that's
yeah.
really cool. So, Glenda, I want to know who Glenda was as a little girl and who Glenda is as a grown woman now.
Oh my God. It's the same thing.
Child.
I'm still a child. Gosh. You know, I think that I really do keep that spirit alive, you know, because whether we're 4 or 10 or 20 or 50, you know, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's your core spirit inside. And if you keep that alive and you keep that wonderment and that excitement for life, and you have a purpose, you know, and you're going along in life and learning, kind of like what you and I were talking about earlier. It's like, yeah, we all learn things every day, right? If you're paying attention, that's for sure.
Pay attention.
Pay attention. That's the key. So I think, you know, I think I still have that desire and delight for life, you know, as a one in wonderment as a child. So I kind of keep that alive. And and it's fun because I just don't put myself in any kind of boundaries like, oh, I'm this age, so I need to wear these kind of clothes, or I need to act like this. And I think being an artist, excuse me, being an artist, I think has allowed me to have that frame, have that exploration mindset, I guess, and to just, you know, be curious about life. And I think that keeps you definitely youthful.
Well, being an artist, right, you have to be able to express yourself, you
Yeah,
know, and out of the box, right? Because if you're in the box, you know, are you really bringing something new to the table? Like, you know,
exactly.
and I love your cup because your cup it says witch's brew. So we're gonna stir the pot tonight, and we're gonna have some really good witch's brew here. Um, so I want to get into your tea right away and then I want to get into all of the incredible stuff that you're doing because the music and songwriting and all that speaks really close to my heart.
Mm.
And I love that you're a Heart fan and a Janis Joplin girl and I checked out some of your videos and I'm like, oh yeah, she's got it. She's got that Janis Joplin in her, right? And I don't know. We're kind of giving our ages away when we start talking about these artists. But you know, I want to get into the tea. So for your tea, you gave me transformation, evolve, and alchemy. Did I say right?
Alacrity.
Alacrity.
Alacrity. Hmm.
So let's get into that tea.
Okay.
So you started off with a transformation. So why'd you give me transformation?
Because I really feel like that's my commitment in life, and I think we do it whether we want to or not. You'll go dragging or screaming, but everyone transforms. I mean, if you look back at when you were 5, when you were 20, and when you know you're now, most of us have taken the journey of transformation just because that's what you do, right? You keep your spirit alive and youthful, but at the same time you still have transformation. You still are going to transform yourself. You weren't thinking or drinking the same thing you drunk at 20. You know, you party differently. You know, you have a cup of tea instead of a shot of vodka. You know, so
or you have a little less of that vodka.
Exactly, a little less, yeah. So for me, yeah, I'm my whole life is around transformation. I'm really conscious of it. So I think that's one of the reasons why I put that there for tea.
So your evolve.
Evolve. And that's what we do, right? We evolve, hopefully. It gets really scary these days. You're like, really? Are we really evolving? And there's so many times that you're driving around your town or something, and you're like, really? Are we here? We're here. We are here. What is?
Are we really doing this? Like,
Are we really doing? Did you just really cut me off?
right?
You know, things like that. It's like, what? Where are you going? Should have
Yeah.
started yesterday. I mean, that's ridiculous. Where are you going?
Are you one of those drivers that you always question what the other driver is doing?
Not usually, unless it's, well, I live in California, so um, the highways that we have here, freeways, um, the sign says what, 65 or something. It's like, no, it's like 80 and 90, and there people are weaving in and out of the, it's like, really? We're doing that. Okay. We're endangering your life and everyone else's around you. For what? I'm not really sure. So yeah.
And let's get into your A. I'm gonna get you to say it again because I'm gonna
Alacrity.
put alacrity.
Alacrity.
Alacrity. I'm gonna do a tongue twister with these words. So, so why that word, Glenda?
Because alacrity, so it means physical quickness coupled with eagerness or enthusiasm. And so, excuse me, I believe that whatever you choose to do or take on in your life, use alacrity. Do it with alacrity. Do it with eagerness. Do it with enthusiasm, or don't do it at all. Find something that really aligns with you and your purpose. And if you don't know what that is, take time to be curious about how do you find out what your purpose is. How, you just got to really think about it and look. And sometimes you need help. Sometimes you need to read a book that inspires you with an author that's amazing or deeply insightful, or get yourself into a course or a coach or, something just so you can help yourself, evolve to the next level, to really take on something that is you, that inspires you, that gives you passion and purpose. If you're not doing that, you have to question why aren't you doing that? And sometimes you don't know right away. You just got to get out there and kind of feel around for it and see if it's, well, I'm kind of interested in fencing, so let me go do that. Next thing you know, you're the fabulous fencer. It gives you exercise. You're excited, and then you join a club, and then you running the club. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
you just got to find out, be curious about yourself.
Well, it's almost like you got to build a club, right? You got to put those bricks together, and you got to put the door, and you got to open the door, and open the window. You got to take the steps, right? If you're not
Exactly.
taking those steps, how do you evolve? If you're just sitting there and you're just pouting, it's like sitting in a car and you're not pushing the gas pedal. Well, you're not going to go anywhere. You're just going to sit there and pout, right?
Brilliantly
So,
said.
I want to get into the book, Glenda. You have a book called Courage. Why that title, Courage, for your book?
So I think several reasons. One, everyone needs to have courage at some point in life. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed, okay, having the courage. And sometimes it's, it's our trials and things that we really want to do, but we're afraid to, or, there's a myriad of reasons. And I think courage is at the core of it. And I always say that first of all, you need clarity. If you don't have clarity about who you are, what you're doing, then once you have that, you can develop the courage. You get into the courage, then that allows you to have confidence. And inside of confidence, you create commitment. And then after commitment, you can create community. So that's kind of how I saw it inside of my book. So I went clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, community.
So it's almost like the 4 C's, right?
Yeah.
The 4 cookies.
Yeah.
You have to eat one cookie to get to the next cookie, right? I don't know
Pretty
why
much.
I put cookie in there, but I just C and cookie, right?
Yeah.
C is for cookie.
I know, totally. And that's kind of how I started. I think I did a lot of this naturally. And when it came to actually writing the book, it all started in my kitchen with a couple of girlfriends. If you don't mind, I'll jump into that. Is that
No,
okay.
go ahead.
And one of my girlfriends turned to me and she goes, "You're a real badass goddess. And I went, what? And I know a lot of times us as women, we kind of go, no, 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 no. What? I didn't do that. I'm not, you're just kind of all like, no, I'm not amazing, Um, and I saw that get triggered inside of myself. And I went, oh, that's interesting. And instead I stopped myself and I said, you know what? Accept that as a compliment. That woman meant that for you because that inspired her. And so
Yeah.
we went on to have a conversation about that. And I took it on till I was just going to own goddess badass. Right. And then I went on to decide, well, you know what? I don't think being a badass really means that you're mean, that you're aggressive, that you're rude, that type of thing. And so I just went into like, I'm going to redefine this, I'm going to redefine what badass means. And so I did. And how the acronym for me for badass is B is beautiful, A is accessible. I'll say it again, accessible or accessible, D for daring, A for abundant, S for savvy, and S for sassy. And that's how I redefined it. You can put in sexy if you want or whatever. But I decided to redefine that word for myself and for other women to actually step into that. And I think those are beautiful things to step into for most of us. And once you do that and you activate that inside yourself, you really start to see the courage.
Yep.
You start to get clear. You start to have the empowerment. You start to have the full self-expression. It takes a minute and there's things you got to
It kind of pumps you up, right? Like it brings you to the table like badass, like come on, like, and was there not wrestlers called the Badass Babes or something?
I don't know.
I know I've heard badass before. I also had a guest in season 1, Bonnie Nicole, who has a badass clothing line, and like
Nice.
you're my second badass, and that's what it was for her too, was the courage, right, to stand, to be firm, find your fire, and that's kind of like your book and your everything just aligned together, right? It just all fell together.
Yeah. Well, and it was kind of like, can I do this? Do I have value to talk about this? I really did. I sat with that and I was like, okay, well, let me just give it a shot. I had no idea. I'm not an author. I'm a musician, a songwriter, but I never really think of myself as like, I'm an author, of books. I never thought of myself as that. Just because my path has always been in music and performance and, touring and doing that kind of thing. So I thought, okay, so I stopped and I said, okay, let's see if you can do that. So I go, okay, well, I don't know how to do this. Then I thought, well, probably do an outline, I'm guessing. So I did, I think I did like, I don't know, 15 chapters or something like that. I just did top line outlines. And I go, okay, well, what does it take to have clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and community? Oh, what's that? That's how you get to have courage, right?
Yeah.
And then I just broke it down. And then I wrote literally, this is just to prove myself I could do it. I literally said 1 chapter a day, and I'm going to write the book in 15 days. None of this nonsense, 2 to 10 years before you get a book done. And I was like, okay. And so I did it. I literally, in 15 days, I'd written the whole book. Now, caveat, mind you, I took a break after I did that. And then I went back a few months later and reread it and went, oh, okay, you need to rewrite that. And then I started getting more ideas and that type of stuff. And then I finally finished it. My music partner moved out to California to be with me. He's on the East Coast in Boston. And he and I set up our performance space and everything, the studio and everything here in California. And while we were doing that, I shared the manuscript with a coach of mine. And I said, would you just tell me if this is any good or anything? I just wanted to like, look, does this have any value, And she wrote me back. She said, this is fantastic. You actually need to, publish this. And I went, what? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, here is an editor I think you should meet. And that's kind of how that started. And I did it. We finished it. Took about another 3 months to like really get through it and edit it properly so it looked good and And she totally helped me to do that. And that's how that came about.
Well, and that's why I wanted to get into was how did you get from songwriting to book writer, right? Like an author,
Yeah.
because all of the stuff I found on you was music, music, music. And I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, and she wrote a book. It just goes to show you if you try, right?
Yeah.
If you just take those steps and you
Yeah.
just put that extra little window, like we said at the beginning, right? Like building that club, and we
Yeah.
put that extra little window, and we say, oh well, let's try that little window and see what opens with that window, and I think it all aligns, it all goes together. The badass, the courage, the
Hmm.
fire, the where's she gonna go with this next? It's keeping you out of that box. You're not in that box, right? You're that artist.
Yeah.
Keep your listeners and your audience and all that engaged, and
Yeah.
say, be prepared, because you just never know what Glenda's bringing to the table, right?
And you just never know what's going to happen. Right. Well, I think you hit something on the head there. It's like I never thought from this perspective, but and what does an artist do? Like, I always thought, oh, I'm a musician, so I'm an artist, so I just do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, Glenn, yeah, you have mastery in live performance and being with people and that kind of thing, but there's other areas of my life that I've developed and refined and explored and had breakthroughs in and that type of thing. And so this like kind of all came together, and it's like, it's okay, you don't have to say, oh, I'm not an author, I'm a musician and I do this, and I saw myself doing that, like, feeling like fraudulent, like I'm not, there are people that have 25 books, and that's like all they care about is writing, and I'm like, I know, but I don't do that.
Well, and I think all writers, I've heard this before, that we all feel like we have this imposter syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
As writers, as artists, as anything creative, we feel like we're being an imposter at times, and we self-doubt ourselves, and we're like, why the heck are we even doing this? Like, why are we going that way? Like, it's like we said it in the traffic jam, right? Like, are we doing this? Like, are we really doing this? Like, like we're actually doing this. We're going to try it. And if it goes, like,
I think you're right on that, because it's when you start to compare yourself, then you kind of go, oh, well, I'm not that good. Like, oh my God, no, J.K. Rowling, are you kidding? No, like, no way. And she's like Keats, she's probably like, I'm not that, and he's probably did that with somebody else, So it's like, that's the trouble spot. It's like, don't compare yourself. And I think that's when I jumped in when I first started the book itself, and I said, okay, 15 chapters in 15 days, I'm going to do it, and it was more of like a fun goal for myself. I did not look online, like, how do I write a book? I didn't. I just went, I bet you there's an outline here, and you have to like, what are the steps? Like how, and like, what would I do in this chapter? Then it goes to that chapter. And then in this chapter, like in order, like what would you have to do? And the book really talks about, it's my journey through as an artist, as a musician. So you'll hear stories, you'll read stories.
Well, you can hear stories on audio,
which I haven't done, because I'm dyslexic. So I went, oh no, this is how you do it. And I like, oh, well, this is what I did in this situation. So I told the story, and then I thought through it, and then I said, okay, here are some things at the end of the story, right? Short story. Here are the things that you think about, or B, you would do, like take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and it's going to sound super simple, but it's not. And on the left side, you say things I want, and on the right side, things I don't want. And I swear to you, that is the hardest. You can fill up the things you don't want, but when it comes to what you want, sometimes with us ladies, for sure, it's harder to detangle other people's energies, our children, our husband, our boyfriends, whatever it is. What do they want? Well, you girls, you probably already know what they want. Like, psychically, you know what they want,
Right?
you know,
And if
you
you're not paying attention.
exactly, and most likely we are, right? And then, but but to tell what do I want? I mean, there are days I still do that. I go, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well,
So,
I think it's part of the nurturing, right? As females, we nurture everybody else, but we don't nurture ourselves when it
mhm,
comes to nurturing ourselves, right? Taking care of ourselves, self-care.
exactly.
We always feel like, oh my goodness, can I do it right now? No, who needs this? Who else can I help first? And then we come back to us second all the time, right?
Right. 100%. That was what that led me actually, that conversation, that comment, I should say, that you're having, that we're having the conversation, that I really started to explore that with a workshop that I designed and developed. And it was around my book and that type of thing, and how it's called Own the Goddess Within. It was a 2-day workshop, and I'm not offering it right now, but yeah, that's exactly what we dealt with. That was one of the things. And I'm telling you, everybody's self-care is different.
Yeah.
So where I love a massage, I've got a girlfriend that says, please don't touch me. That does not relax me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she likes to ride horses. You know what I'm saying? That's relaxing for her. Somebody else would be frightening, right? So we dug into that and we explored what is self-care for you. And it has to be something, self-care, that you are aligned with and that you're passionate about, you know, because, I'm passion meaning I really would love to do that, or I'd love to have that happen. I want my nails done. I want to go for a run, or all those things, right? So you find out what those things are. And then here's the key. You put it in time on a calendar.
Oh.
And that's the key. And what we don't do as women, and I'm just going to use women for an example right now. This could be anybody. We don't honor that because our time schedules get booked up with other things to do. Even though it is for us on some level, it's still energy out. So we want energy in. And that's part of self-care. So in part of self-care, then you have to go, okay, from, let's say your day starts at 9 because you are busy and you got a job or you're going to work, you got kids, whatever you got, right? Then you go, okay, well, I'm either going to do self-care at night or I'm going to do it in the morning. What honors me? Well, you know what? I think I'm going to feel better if I do it in the morning. So in the morning, I'm passionate about, going to the gym or having tea with my friends or getting a massage or something. And then just schedule it. And then follow the schedule. And I think that's been a challenge for a lot of us because we put ourselves last. We put that last, and then it doesn't get in the calendar.
Yeah.
Because by that time we're out of time.
Well, and it makes a lot of sense too, Glenda, because if you look at calendars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Women have a hard time with calendars. I know I do.
Yeah.
Because I know once I put it in the calendar, oh shoot, that's what I got to do.
That's right. That's right. That's
Right?
right. But you can add the freedom to that, because here's the cool thing is that when you look at it and you go, let's say you scheduled yourself, and it's neat because you can step back and go, okay, I'm really confronted by this. Like, this is really confronting. And then you get to ask yourself the question, well, why am I confronted by it? Well, I feel like I'm trying to be controlled. Interesting. Okay. Oh, I feel like I'm being dominated by yourself.
Right? You're making yourself accountable,
Exactly.
like, just do it. Like, it's,
Exactly. But it has to really, I think it has to call to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And that's why I say passionate about it, because don't throw something in there with a should. I should go to the gym. I should do, because you're gonna, it's gonna be 9 o'clock and you're gonna go, I gotta wash dishes, or I gotta go pick somebody up, or I gotta go do something else. I gotta go to work, So
yeah, well, any form of healing or transformation or anything, when you put the word should, you're kind of dictating yourself that, oh, well, I should do it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to find an excuse that shoulda, coulda, woulda, right?
Exactly.
And then you're looking back and you're saying, oh, yeah, I could have just did it, right? Like, and get it over with. Like,
Yeah. And that's the key, because we want to be invited into the space of, I don't want to get it over with. I'm excited to do it, right? And that's when you have to wind it back to make sure that you're actually really excuse me, you're actually really wanting to do it.
yeah,
Like it's really something that you're maybe afraid of, but giving it to yourself, but you it's still something that you love to do. And it may be tough right out the gate,
yeah.
but if you practice it long enough, it'll be good.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think empowering each other, right? Especially women,
Yeah.
because we always put ourselves on the back burner, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
By having a sisterhood and by having
Mm-hmm.
badass warriors saying you can do this, like like your friend that said, you know what, you're a badass. You didn't take it as an insult. You were like, you know what, huh? I
Yeah.
am like, where we're going to go with this, like, kind of pump you
Exactly.
up, right? It's almost like a wrestling match. I don't know why I keep going back to wrestling, but it's almost like, when they get you to go to the stage, right? And they're like pumping you up, like this one's coming, da 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 da, 250 pounds, like how they introduce you, right? So you introduce yourself as a badass warrior, and you're like, you know what? I'm a badass warrior. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to do it. No
Yeah.
matter how hard it is, I'm going to do it.
That's
And,
right.
and that's what I get from you, Glenda, is that you're that woman that says, you know what? Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
And that's how I got things done. It's like you got to face your fears. You got to take the layers off, dig down. You have to be willing to be curious. And when, let's go back to that little scenario with my friend saying you're a badass. And it was funny because it was really uncomfortable when she said that to me, because my knee-jerk reaction was like, oh, no, 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 like, oh, don't compliment me, like, oh, I can't own that, like, oh,
Yeah. How dare I take that? I'm a badass,
right,
right?
oh my
Like,
God,
I better behave myself. I better calm myself down. Take it
That's
down a
right.
notch. One less rock for me. Like,
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, how dare you? So, and in that moment, because I'm very conscious and aware person, and I love to evolve. Um, I went, you know what? Just own that. And plus, when we cut people off from complimenting us, when we don't accept their compliment, that hurts. I mean, I know it hurts me when I try to tell somebody how much I love them and how wonderful I think they are and what a magnificent human being they are. And they go, no, that's right. That's like,
yeah,
wow, you're not accepting their gift. And most of us don't think from that way. We've got to
yeah,
be all humble and, and yeah, we don't need to be narcissists and whatever. That's a whole nother show. Anyway,
oh,
but
there's a lot of that out there.
right. I'm like, but excuse me, but like I said, I revamped it, and I said, beautiful, accessible, daring, abundant, savvy, sassy. Now, if you live into that badass, that's cool,
Yeah.
and
Well, and it's a cup within, right? It goes right back to your tea, the evolving, right? You have to evolve that cup. You have to
yeah,
evolve the badass within you. And we're so used to the outer us that we're not comfortable with the inside of us.
that's right.
So when we go to pour the inside, people are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Where's this coming from? Like,
Yeah,
what are we doing here?
exactly.
Because we're so scared of the inside that
Yeah,
we're always looking at the outside of the shell,
yep.
you
And
know?
that's just ego, and it's lies.
Yeah.
It's got, and it's coupled with all kinds of fears and insecurities, and then you start reacting and interacting in such ways that you just like, people just like, really?
Yeah. As a songwriter, when you write a song, Glenda,
Mm.
do you release the inside when you're writing? Like, do you really get raw with yourself when you're writing?
I do. I mean, it's different every time. Let's just put it that way. Um, when I write. So sometimes I have a a subject matter, a desire. I tend to want to write more about things that will really make a difference, that really matter to people, kind of send that message home. So I'll give you an example. So I'm working on a new track. It's called Pride. And excuse me, I was inspired to write it based on a good friend of mine had written a post on Facebook. And the story was so moving and so picturesque and so poignant, actually, for right now. It was about, he got out of his car to fill up for gas. And the story goes that he saw this guy dragging himself across the parking lot on the ground, dragging himself. And he said he got out of his car and saw this, and then he looked around and everybody was like, da, 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 da. I'm just going to fill my gas up. I'm not going to pay attention. And my friend was like, what the heck is going on here? No one's helping this guy. Like, don't you all see this person? So he ran over there and he like, can I help you? Do you need some water? Are you okay? And so he like helped sort this guy out. But when he shared the story, it was so moving and I was so incensed, and I really felt like I needed to write that song. And, I don't know. I just had to write it. So that was me, going, okay, I'm going to talk about this in my way. Right. Yeah. And so, I was going to just pop that up. What's going on here? Oh, sorry. Yeah. So there's that. So there was Pride. And then, so like one of the lines is, another lonely woman, another hungry child. We walk on past, the pride of it all. Another broken soldier, another homeless man. We walk on past, the pride of it all. Another missing father, another sister gone, right? So I was just like, and then I went into, I walk on past, and then you walk on past, and then we walk on past the pride of it all. So, those are the moments that just hit you. It's like, come on. So anyway, that was the Pride song. And then something completely different. I was watching, I don't know if you guys ever seen this movie. It's really an old movie. It's Outlaw Josie Wales.
No.
American, was with Clint Eastwood. It was a film, but Outlaw Josie Wales.
The good old Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, good old Clint Eastwood. The Outlaw, look it up. Outlaw Josie Wales, 1970. I don't know. Anyway, it was old. I don't know, but we were just kind of like watching old movies and stuff. And Outlaw Josie Wales, I think, is like it's like a classic tale, I think, from the past. And then they turned it into a movie, right?
Yeah.
And then I wrote a song about that, and it's called Outlaw. So these two songs are not out yet. Pride will be out probably in the next few months, but I'm working with a co-writer and producer in the UK. So he and I are working on some stuff and getting it together, and then we'll mix and master. So yeah, then we'll get it out.
You have two songs out that I found. I know you have more than that, but I found two songs. The Walking and the Lulu White.
Lulu White. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now Lulu White was I decided I wanted to write about empowering women. And I thought, but I want to write about somebody that nobody knows. Like there's many women out there that are pretty amazing that you'll never know about. But so I wanted to do something out of New Orleans from the South, and this name came up, Lulu White, and she was an actual real woman. She was real. And she was born in the late 1800s, I think, or she had her brothel in the 1800s. Sorry. And of course, she got shut down in 1917 because of World War I. But they were just like, kibosh on the prostitution out of New Orleans at that time. But she was the richest woman in New Orleans, and this woman was self-made in the 1800s. Okay. Wow. And she was part Black, and hello. I mean, look at it. Late 1800s, woman, black, brothel. Hello. You're not going to, like, how do you become the richest woman in New Orleans and everyone loves you? Like, you're totally protected. Like, no one's arresting her or anything,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And she really, I mean, her dresses were like $5,000 for her dress. I mean, that's extraordinary. Back then, the late
Is that the lady
1800s.
that had the affair with the doctor and got pregnant by the doctor?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so that's another one.
Yeah.
'Cause I watched it's a woman in the 1800s the other night. So
Yeah. No, check it out. Lulu White. She's fabulous. Anyway, I wanted to write a song about her. But I wanted to honor her, like, because that was pretty badass. If you ask me,
well, it's like you said, Glenda, there's so many amazing, empowering women that are out there that we will never know about.
Yep.
In the history, starting back in the 1800s, women were empowered back then. There was women fighting for our rights to vote, being working where men work, there were incredible women out there, but we don't hear about them.
Yeah. The suffragettes. I mean, those ladies, I mean, they lobbied for years just to, treat me like a human being. And in some countries, like the UK or whatever, when they actually got the vote, women got the vote before we did.
Wow.
And they had to take some serious stands and steps to be, I mean, come on, back then, if you were a woman, you either were wealthy, didn't do anything. You were married, didn't do anything. Or you had, you worked for your father at, his work or whatever. And then, or you a washerwoman or a housekeeper, if you were lucky. It was pretty dangerous. And then, if let's say you married somebody that you didn't get along with, good luck keeping your kids, and he could put you, he could call hysteria and that you'd be in the nut house.
Well, there was a lot of that, right? Back in the day, it was when women lost their shit and lost their cool. It was lock them up. They were crazy, right?
That's right. Lock them up. Put them in bedlam. Bedlam.
Lock that crazy woman up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's frightening.
Right? And history has repeated itself for centuries.
Yeah.
Even to today, there's women
that I want to say this too. I think, us women, and especially young women, ladies, wake up. I mean, we are lucky we have the rights that we have right now. We stood on the shoulders of some badass goddesses that had courage, confidence, commitment, and community, and they stood for something. And we're we could lose all that. I mean, crazy Christian right people, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. Not everybody, but there are small factions they just want to make sure that we stay down and keep our mouths shut, it's super complicated right now, but I think we just really need to keep self-expression, keep our freedom, keep going, keep finding yourself, expressing yourself, because it's scary. I mean, you go to other countries and women are shrouded, and being abused. I
think the biggest thing that I'm noticing with women is the sisterhood is not supporting the sisterhood. We're not supporting each other. We're saying we have your back, but we're actually the ones that are getting your back. You know what I mean?
Wow.
We're not having it, but we're getting it.
Yeah.
We're the ones that are backstabbing each other's women. I say this all the time. I watch women because it's not support for support with women right now. And like you said, we could lose a lot of history.
Yeah.
A lot of these women that fought for our rights, we could lose it.
That's
by
right.
just being, we're just throwing it to the wind.
Yeah. Being complacent and, just ignoring what's going on. I mean, everything's cyclical, right? So if things come up in history and it comes back, and then, excuse me, and then we just kind of go, okay, well, what are we going to do about that? Anything? We're just going to be silent.
Yeah. Well, I think back in the day in the 1800s, they had that community, right? I think what we're missing in today's world with the women for empowerment is community.
Hmm.
It's almost like we're afraid to make a community and build a community. It's easier for us to say, yeah, we do have a community. We have this day and we have that day. But then the rest of the other days, we're not supporting one another.
Right.
We're comparing, we're competing, we're
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, she's got a gold star, you got a silver star. Okay, well, she's got a silver star, let's celebrate her too. Like,
Exactly.
like, why does it always have to be always the gold stars that are always winning? Like, yeah, like, let's start supporting one another. And I think that's where we're lacking in
Yeah.
women empowerment, is that we're not celebrating the little sisters that are winning the little wins. Celebrate the little win. The
That's
little
right.
wins will lead to the big wins.
That's right.
And that.
And to remind ourselves not to compare ourselves and stuff. You are your own unique being, and the more that you can, develop yourself and get out there in the world, then people get to say, oh, there's that person and that's what they're like, and what are they contributing, like to your point about us women supporting each other. Sometimes it's not a fit, but sometimes it is a fit, and you gotta be open-minded enough to explore what that is and what does that mean and how do I help. Just like what you're doing, Miss Liz, you're doing something that you love and that you're passionate about, and it provides you something.
Yep.
And then you're also providing other people a platform. So that's a win. Right?
Right.
That's no skin off your back. You're not
It's building the community.
Yeah.
If we don't build communities, how do we expect to move forward? How do we
Exactly.
expect to make any changes?
Exactly.
If we're just going to repeat, and I always tell this to my kids, don't just talk, walk with that
Yeah.
talk.
Thank
Take
you.
that step. If it's an inch, take that inch. It's like a baby learning how to crawl.
Yeah.
That baby crawls, falls down, gets back up, still goes. That's what I do. I
Yeah.
fall, I get right back up and let's go. Okay, that doesn't work. Let's go left. Let's go right. Oh, let's go down the middle. But the middle, I don't like to stay on the middle because there's not very much change in the middle, because that's where comfort is, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to stay comfort as a woman who's empowering each other. We want to take you on the left or the right. Let's go for a joyride. Like, let's party, but party in a different way. Like you said at the beginning, Glenda, you said, instead of having that vodka, we have the tea, So let's have the tea community. Let's all come together and let's just celebrate with tea. But we can have tea tequila. We can have iced tea. We can have all different kinds of tea,
we'll have
guys.
a tea party.
Right? We can have just this big celebration of that we did it, that we got through it.
Absolutely. And really, really share our celebrations. I mean, really share that. It's like, and that's cool because then we get to know each other, right? If you don't tell me what you've done and who you are, how do I celebrate you? I don't know you, right? It's like, okay, I'm not that psychic.
Car, you don't push your gas. I don't know where you're going. I don't know how to celebrate you if you don't move, And I think that's what it is with women empowerment and with the badass that I got, Glenda, from you is, move. Just take that step. Try it.
Yeah.
Get the courage, and courage, it actually makes a difference.
Yeah. On my second title is Courage, Find Your Fire, which means find it, right?
Yep.
And ignite action in your life. Yep. So, and that's really the key. You want to find the fire. So that means get clear, create the courage, right? And once you have the courage, you're going to be out there. So you're going to ignite action. Then you get confidence, right? After that, you're building your confidence. And then you're like, you know what? I'm committed to this. I'm going to do this.
Yep.
So, and then through that, people are attracted to that. And you start to, and then if your intention is to create community, well, guess what? You're going to create community.
And that's how you get a tea party.
That's how you do it.
You got to bring the cookies.
I love it.
If you don't bring the teas, you can't enjoy the tea.
That's right. Bring those cookies.
Glenda, I want to get into the magazine, because how does the magazine work? Like for the badass magazine, like can people submit to the magazine? Do you find badasses? Like, how does it work?
Yeah, the magazine actually is defunct now. We started it in 2018, and we did it for a while, and it was really, really challenging. And actually, someone has now stolen it in South America, so you can probably find it. I just found it. I was like, wait a minute, I didn't put my interviews up for on the magazine. So we kind of folded that, and then I went into more of podcasting with Global Badass Goddess. You can find those on YouTube. You can watch my wonderful. It's like this. We're talking about stuff. Beautiful badasses. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing now. I haven't been podcasting in a while. It's a lot of work, as you know. So
Yeah,
right
it's
now,
not like camera action.
uh-huh. I'm right now, I'm just doing my music. I'm getting ready to tour. I'm looking for a wonderful music booking agent. I have a great publicist right now. And then, my book, as you can see, Courage, you can find it on Amazon. I think Barnes and Nobles has it, but I'm still trying to figure out why, because I didn't put it up there. So
I'm thinking that it's attached with Amazon somehow.
I'm wondering, yeah.
Because they outsource to different things. And I think if you put on a little click, because I know with my books are in Barnes and Noble and all that as well.
Okay.
I think it's because we're putting outsource.
Okay.
I think that's what it's doing. It's outsourcing to other
Gotcha.
locations.
How do I find out? Do I just call them? Maybe Amazon?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really what I'm doing. Just hanging out with cool chicks like you and talking about life and music and making more music and writing books. And yeah, I
So I
just
want to get before we wrap up, because we're almost at the end here, Glenda. I want to talk to you about the Grammy.
yeah.
How does that work to become a member of that?
It's a lot of work.
Nothing comes easy.
Well, in the fashion of my book, I said, hey, I want a Grammy. And I said, okay, well, how do you get a Grammy? And I went, okay, let me look that up. And then, and it said the Recording Academy. So you have to join the Recording Academy. Well, you don't have to, but what I did was I joined the Recording Academy. You have to get 2 referrals, what they call referrals, and have to be people in your industry that are working. So they have to go, yeah, that person's really cool. And they go, okay. And so once that happens, then they email you and they say, well, tell us why you think you should be in the Recording Academy. And then I have to tell them that. And then if they accept you, then you're a Recording Academy voting member. So that means I'm one of the people that vote on the people that you see on the Grammys this year.
Oh, well, look at that.
Yeah, on February 4th, you will see one of the people that I voted for. So, and not always, because I like it depends on what category. I'm in the roots category. So anyway, so that's kind of how you do it. That's how I got on, and it's not easy, but it's a fabulous community, and it is a business. So you really get a really interesting spotlight on how really the music industry works and how the elites work and how they get there. And it's all got sections. I should probably write a book about that. My Lord. But I've been in there for 2 years now, and I've submitted my music the last couple of years, and we'll be submitting 2 more tracks next year. Yeah, I probably won't do an album, or I don't know yet, but I'll definitely be doing singles for sure.
So are you going to submit that song Pride?
I am, actually.
Awesome. I was going to say that one needs to be there, because we are turning a blind eye, right?
Yep.
We say we want to help people in that, and then it depends on our mood and the situation, right? We turn our eyes.
Yeah. Well, and it, and it gets overwhelming for each one of us. And really the bottom line is we need to stop with the Band-Aids. The Band-Aids are, let's shove them down the road, or let's sweep them up, and then they come back, and no one's really looking underneath the hood. They're not looking at, like, there are 3 sections, possibly more. 1, there are mental illness, there are drug use, and there are people that have just fallen on hard times. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're all mixed together, and that's not good. I have a girlfriend up in Northern California, farther north, up in Redding. She retired, and she said, well, what should I do? And she thought to herself, well, I'm going to see about homeless. And she started this project, and I'm telling you, she pulled 10 people off the street, and
Wow.
and now they're working citizens, like healthy, safe, happy, clear about what they're doing and getting help. And then they've got jobs. They're off the streets. Okay. And then there are countries that, like Finland, they don't have homeless. They've got it solved. Why aren't we following that?
That's my biggest thing, Glenda, is if we see that it's working somewhere, why are we not implementing it over here?
We're
Why are
greedy
we
as
not following suit? Like,
it's
there's a
yeah,
good leader here,
it's a
and we're
horrible
not doing it.
yeah, it's a horrible political will. It's like the people that we've put in positions are not actually allocating money or doing anything about it. They just want to band-aid everything. They just want to sweep it along. Oh, we're trying, we're getting more police. It's like, oh yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah.
What? No, we need to have there needs to be some legislation that says if you are a drug addict or if you are mentally ill, you need to go to these places that can help you. You have no more rights anymore. If you are living on the street, hurting people, infecting people, doing something, no, I'm sorry. That's my attitude. You need to you need to go get help.
Yeah.
And
when
then
you're
if you can,
choosing this lifestyle,
that's right. Because
help.
bottom
That's
line is
when you should lose your rights, and people should be
that's right.
enforced and say,
And
you know what?
because
No, this is not working.
this is not working, and it's not working for you, and it's not working for us, the homeowners, the businesses that are taking the hit because you're breaking in, because you need to steal money, because you need to eat, stuff like that. I mean, it's like now you're infringing on other people's rights that actually are functioning to help society. So this is stupid. Doesn't make any sense. Not to take people's rights away. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there needs to be certain legislations that make sense for that, just to help them get back on their feet.
Well, it's like a wellness plan, right, Glenda?
Right.
Like we have wellness plans for mental health. So if you feel like your wellness is going down, you have these people that you call to take over and start making choices for your life. It doesn't mean that they're controlling your life. It just means that they're enforcing what you're saying you need to do to get well.
That's right. That's right. And sometimes we need help, and sometimes it needs to be a little structured.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, it's just like, you go to, what do you call it? You go to rehab, right? Yeah. You can't bring your drugs in. That's the point, right? Somebody's helping you get off the drugs.
Yeah. You can't sneak it in. Like you can't ask family members to bring it in. Like,
that's right.
Like follow the rules. Like, we're here to help you. We're not here to make it worse.
And there's stuff underneath that. So, and then while you get clean, while you get sober, then you should look at what is it that had you flip into that. Well, I had trauma when I was a kid. Okay, cool. Well, let's deal with that.
Yeah.
Because once you can solve those core issues for yourself, then you have a really good chance of like really making life work. And then the people, that last category that I was talking about, the people that actually that just fallen on hard times, those are the people that are they need a leg up, they need support, and they need to be safe, and they need to be, they need special, which is what my girlfriend's doing up in Redding, and it's working. It's fabulous. And I'm telling you, there are some, there are some people that just go, why are you going against this? This is helping your community, and it's safer for people. That, well, we don't want homeless in this area. Well, it's like, well, guess what? They're going to be in this area. Either you're helping them, or they're helping themselves to your stuff.
Right? Like you gotta stop turning that blind eye to what is actually happening out there.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
I
can't wait to hear the word. I can't wait to hear that song Pride, and absolutely send it for a Grammy, because that is actually really cool.
Great. Well, we'll definitely have to next year. Then or this year. I mean, we'll definitely get together again. We'll have to talk about it.
Absolutely. So, what final message do you have for all the listeners tonight, Glenda?
really get clear about who you are and what your purpose in life, and, and just really find it in your heart to be that contribution, make that difference. What can you do? And you don't have to take on the world. You just have to clean up your side of the street. Really, that's it. It's very simple. I have a pick up the can theory. Sorry. If there's a littered beach of cans, if every person picked up one can, it would get cleaned up.
Yep.
Instead of letting one person pick up all the cans.
Right. That community. We need community.
That's right.
I really want to thank you, Glenda. I had an awesome time. And, sometimes tea time just goes in a different direction, but it brings the good conversation to the table that needed to come to the table. Awesome. So again, I want to thank you for joining me, Glenda. And I'll see everybody next week, same time, same place. And next week, we'll be bringing Skull Games, and Atlantic Ink Master will be coming, and they'll be talking about sex trafficking and recovering and that. And then we also have Tony coming in with the men's grief support, because men do have stories too. So tune in for that. If you'd like to know who else is coming on Tea Time, check out Miss Liz's website, www.misslizsteatime.com. There is no S after Tea Time. And if you'd like to reach Glenda, could you read out your website to everybody?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. You can go to my website. It's Glenda, Glenda, and you can go music, MUSIC, glendamusic.com, or you can go glendabenevides.com. Either way, it gets to my website, and that's Glenda, Glenda, Benevides, BENEVIDES.com, or Glenda Music. Easy. All right. Thanks for your love and support.
Well, thank you, everybody. And I will see you same time, same place next week with 2 new incredible TEAs for everybody.